at the Namaste yoga platform at Predator Ridge. Some really beautiful views here. This is the Pranayama yoga series, the third of 4, and my name is Claudia Sorensen. So as a little review, we talked about the carbon dioxide and the purpose of it. So it's not just a gas that we need to get rid of, but we actually need carbon dioxide in the system to help the blood release oxygen when we need it. So when we're breathing heavier because we're active, the need for breathing heavier comes from too much carbon dioxide in the system that we need to expel. It's not from a lack of oxygen. The oxygen only gets released when we have enough carbon dioxide in the system that then it triggers it to release it to the tissues, the muscles, that we can be more active and have more energy and not hit the wall when we're doing more physical activities. So we want to reduce the volume of breath that we have when we're at rest, and then with that practice that will carry over into our exercise so that we don't get gassed, we don't hit the wall, we don't get lactic acid buildup so much, because more oxygen is being not circulated through, more oxygen is being released actually into the tissues. So reduce the level of your breathing. A little review from what we've talked about already. Today, we're going to move on into reducing that even more. So not just slowing down the exhales, but Richaka and Kumbhaka is our breath cycle. So having a pause in the breath. So as we breathe in, Piraka, pause, which is Kumbhaka, and then exhale, Richaka, and then Kumbhaka again with a pause. And that's how we practice it in yoga. So we'll be doing some of that. To start with, just stand in a comfortable position. Again, don't hold in a particular mountain pose or balance. Not super slouched or lazy, but just comfortably stacked, but relaxed. So nothing is tensed or held or braced anywhere. Let your shoulders and your arms be heavy, comfortably resting on a nice stacked and lengthened rib cage, spine, pelvis, legs, and feet. Okay, once you've found that relatively relaxed position, notice how you're breathing. So we did this before. Come back, check in. Breathing through the nose. What's the breath ratio of the inhale to the exhale? Is one longer than the other? Are they pretty even? Don't worry about counting them. Don't worry if they're different. Right now you're just noticing the natural rhythm of your breath in this moment. Some people like to put their hands on the belly and the chest to be able to externally feel it, that sensory feedback, or the sides of the ribs. Front and back. Kidney area. Or simply just internally notice the sensations of your breath. Feel the breath through the nose. All those are just different options for you to tune in, whether it's sensory feedback, tactile feedback, sound, auditory feedback. We haven't interrupted it, we haven't directed the breath in any way, just letting the natural rhythm, the natural impulse of breath be there. And now that you've done that for a bunch of breaths, notice if there was a pause before and after the exhale, or before and after the inhale. Might be a split second, might be a few seconds. So just keep that in mind while we go through our asana practice, and then we'll work with it some more at the end of today's session. First asana of today is warrior pose, or Virabhadrasana 1. Take a fairly long stance. You can decide how long you want to take it, what feels comfortable to start with. And the back foot on an angle, it can be straight across but not turned behind you. Front foot facing directly forward on your mat. And then find neutral spine here. So pelvic tilt, arched, are you leaning forward, are you tilted? So narrow up your stance accordingly so that you're stacked right between your two legs. And then sink down into it with a bit of a lunge. So gentle, and just notice the increased stretch wherever you might notice that. Okay, once you're comfortable with that length of stride, that depth of lunge, you might want to take it a little further, or you might want to back out a little bit if that was too deep and too much of a strain. Any strain that we feel in the body is going to shorten up our breath and be contrary to what we're trying to achieve. So wiggle out, wiggle in, and then find the right depth. We don't want to lean forward into this leg, but put your weight into the back leg so it stays pretty equal. You just sink down. That way both legs stay active. Extend out through the arms. Our hips are on a bit of a diagonal here, and we can rotate the ribs to the side. And then relax down through your shoulders. We often get really tired here and then get more and more tense. If you exhale and drop your shoulders, you can hold your arms out for quite a lot longer. And then play with where your weight is in your legs, just little micro movements. Play with the position of your pelvis or tilting it, so that even though this pose is stationary and held, it's not rigid, that there's flow to it. So find that little micro movement flow that happens as you breathe. So you're always finding ease in the body. We're not meant to be statues. We're living, flowing, moving beings. So feel that happen, not just with the breath, but through the body. If the shoulders start creeping up, exhale, drop your shoulder blades down your back again. You can certainly gaze over your front fingers. And then just notice in this position, where does your breath go? Does it come up into the shoulders? You start taking bigger breaths, bigger chest breathing? Or can you keep that soft? Can you take the breath into the abdomen and lower back, out into the ribs? Just notice where it wants to go. You can play with moving it into different areas. And then exalted warrior, we tip back. So we have a bit of a side bend here, opening up this whole side of the body. And notice now, where does the breath go? Using your observing skills. You can take your hands to your hips to relax them. Pick up your feet and spin them 180, so we're facing the back of our mats. And then reset here and just find out. We've had a direct comparison of the width of stance, but it might not feel appropriate on this side. So maybe you want to bring your stance a little narrower, and that gives you enough stretch wherever that is for you. Or maybe on this side you can go a little deeper. So remember that we're not leaning and loading just the front leg. Keep this back leg working as well. So think more about just sinking down. So you keep this back leg active and keeping some weight on it. Okay. Hands extending out. How does this affect the breath? We're becoming observers of ourselves. So instead of thinking about doing something and having a goal of perfection or getting somewhere, this is exploring what the body wants to do. Let it lead the way. So you're finding if something feels too intense, itchy, too painful? Or does it feel like you can sink in indefinitely? Might be different parts of the body. So play with the areas that need more attention. And just do some little movements of the shoulders, the arms, neck, even the ribs. And if your most comfy place is really twisted, then play from there and just try to add more and more dynamic little movements to find more and more openings, more and more breath moving into different areas. If your arms do get sore, you can always put your hands on your hips and feel the breath move out from your shoulder tips, going wide on the inhale instead of up. So just let the shoulders rest down, whether your hands are here or here, and feel the ribs underneath your collarbones and shoulder girdles expanding. But it's not an uplifting. The ribs expand wide, and therefore you have the sense that shoulders go wide with it. And that way you let the neck and the shoulder muscles relax. And observe without having to make anything happen. Exalted warrior, stretch up. Feel this whole side of the rib cage pull up and over. You can slide your back hand down the leg. And then just notice what happens to your breath here. Out of that, shake out any tensions that you might have created. Sometimes we don't realize we're going too deep or too far into something till we back out. So it's good to come in and out of something a few times. The next is a balance pose. So balance is usually a really good measure of the chatter going on in our head. So if we're really busy minded, then we tend to be really off balance. If we're calm, then the balance tends to be calmer. So of course there's other variables too, but take notice of that. Have your foot, spread it as wide as you can, and take your heel and reach it back. So you're trying to create a really big base to put your weight onto. So the foot isn't all tensed up with a narrow, really rigid base. But feel the bones widen and spread. This is Garudasana pose. So I like to take this leg across. Let's all go right leg across and just tap the toe down on the other side. So we're still challenging balance, but we have this little safety there that we can touch it down or keep it down if that's enough of a challenge. And then take your right arm and reach it underneath the left. You may just have your palms open out to the outside, or you may wind the arms right up so the palms are facing each other. So just in this pose, how does that affect your breath? Can you breathe into your chest as easily? So restricting one area sometimes really helps us open up another area. So can you breathe, for example, across your shoulder blades easier, across your upper back? We can play with that by rounding our upper back or lifting up through the elbows. If you want to challenge your balance more, maybe take your leg right around. I'm getting pushed around with the wind a little bit, so I might just keep my foot down. Find little movements through your spine, through your shoulders, your elbows, your pelvis even. it over. Left arm goes under. You can wrap your foot right around if you're feeling good and balanced here. Have a nice little calm spell of the wind. And then here, notice what happens with your breath. Find movements within the pose. All the little achy, creaky spots, or just moving the breath around to different areas. Okay, find a seated position up on your sit bones and place your hands behind you, preferably with the fingers facing towards your butt. If you need to turn them sideways or back, of course, there's no perfect, there's no right. It's just what your body feels it needs at this point or what it's capable of. Okay, legs extended out, pull the toes up so we're getting long through the back of the legs. This is Matsyasana, or a variation of fish pose. So with your hands behind you, press down, try to roll forward on your sit bones. If you need to bend your knees, go ahead and bend your knees. And then lift up through your chest to arch through your back. And as you take your head back, try not to just compress it, but glide it back and then look up. Here we're trying to take the elbows close together and squeeze the shoulder blades together. So we're really opening across the chest this way and this way. Find the right position, alter all those different variables, the pelvis, the ribs, the elbows, the shoulders, and the neck. And once you've found your position, then notice, where does the breath go here? We worked a lot in the last pose of moving the breath into the back. But how about now moving the breath into the front? Does it go there a little easier? Another option is to drop down onto our elbows, but trying not to have the elbows too super wide, but pull them close together and then lift up. So again, we're trying to roll forward on the pelvis, lift up through the chest, and then drop the head back and then look overhead. How does the breath move there for you? Into the whole front of the torso. Wide into the ribs, perhaps. Okay, swing around into child's pose. And still working with the shoulders. So having the arms out in front of you as one option. Your knees can be wide with the shoulders out in front of you as a second option, or having the arms back behind you. Each of those is going to give a very different feel. Knees wide allows you to breathe into your abdomen more. Shoulders outstretched will create a very different feel than shoulders relaxing and rolling forward. You can roll your palms up. Try kind of touch your thumbs down to the outside. And while you're in any of these variations of Balasana, just notice where the breath moves. Where can it move? Where does it flow easily? And where do you need to direct the breath because of some extra strain or stretch? So then back out a little bit, soften the breath, and just follow the rhythm of the breathing, finding what the natural ratio, natural depth of your breath is on both the inhale and the exhale in each of those positions, or the one that feels most appropriate for you today. Okay, we'll finish off with Shavasana for the poses practice. Find a comfortable position laying on your back in corpse pose. Another option is to lay on your side in fetal position. Or if you like Makarasana, laying on your stomach in a mild back bend. In any of these variations you've just chosen, your focus is for completely relaxing the body. So in yoga, there's a minimal amount of breath requirement at rest. So be completely at rest. Follow the rhythm, the length, and the ratio of your breathing to keep your mind occupied as you're breathing, as you're relaxing. Let your body drop down, sink down. Let the tension out of your body as you exhale. And often we think that we're relaxed, but in fact there's a low level of tension being held in the body. So you can go through the bigger muscles, say of the legs, and tense the legs, and then on the exhale fully relax the legs as you're lying there. Or tense your arms completely and the shoulders. And then exhale and fully relax the shoulders and the arms. Or any other areas that you know you typically hold or brace, carry tension, maybe in the jaw or the butt, or bracing through the abdominals, scrunching up of the eyes. So just exaggerate that area of tension. Exhale as you fully relax it. And then once you feel completely at ease, then come back to the breathing. Let the exhale be slow, be soft, be lengthened. And notice if there's a little pause after the exhale. If there is no pause, try putting one there, gently. Might be a split second, just a momentary pause before the inhale comes in. The same with after the inhale, you can add a slight pause or retention of the breath. Before exhaling, exhale slow, smooth, and then add a suspension of the breath. And see if you can do this in a nice gentle way where you can continue it. If you're letting the pauses be too long or forcing them to be too long, then you're going to find that you have a muscle reflex or a gasp, a very sharp inhale to make up for it. So then just go back to the natural flow of your breath. And after a few seconds of finding nice rhythm again, then try adding the little pauses, but maybe not as big as you did before. You'll find that as you exhale and add a pause or kubaka in, that the mind will also slow and steady. When you're finished experimenting with your pauses in your breath and relaxing yourself in Shavasana, come on up into a kneeling position. If kneeling is not comfortable for you, you can use a pillow or your bolster to come up a little higher for less pressure on the knees. If your ankles don't like the pressure on them in a kneeling position, you can roll up your mat or place a little rolled towel underneath your ankles to add a little bit of a bend in there, or a combination of the two. And if kneeling is just not good right now and not comfortable, then any cross-legged position that we've worked with in the past, easy sitting position, full lotus cross-legged position, or sitting in a chair, any option where your sit bones are upright so that your pelvis is neutral and not tipped back. And just by tipping the pelvis into its neutral position, the rest of the spine will stack over top of it typically. Okay, so in our kneeling position, or your chosen seated position, find your breath, follow your breath, notice your breath. This is our pranayama practice now. After we've expanded and moved some things around, we're prepared to sit, to breathe, to focus our minds for conscious breathing. Breathing today. So this is a cleansing breath. If you're right-handed, tuck in your first two fingers on your right hand. If you're left-handed, do the same with the left hand. And the two little fingers will block the left nostril, or if you're left-handed, block the right nostril, so just do the opposite. And the thumb will block the right nostril. So if you block the right, breathe in through the left, block the left, and breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right, block it, and breathe out through the left. And we're going to alternate back and forth in this way. So find your rhythm and your pace of that. Don't rush it. And if one nostril, as you just attempted that, is blocked, then just breathe out only on that side, and the other side can breathe in and out. So you can adapt it so that you'll clear the sinuses eventually. So block the right, breathe in through the left, breathe out through the right. Go at your pace, it may not match mine. that's feeling comfortable and you've found a nice rhythm with it, we're going to add the kumbhaka or the pauses into it. So after you inhale, block both nostrils and retain the breath. It can just be for a split second or it can be a few seconds. You decide what your pace is. And then release the other nostril to exhale. Again, suspend the breath. Hold the breath out for a moment before breathing back in that side. Continue this Anuloma Viloma breathing to help clear through the sinuses. Sun and moon balancing breath, it's also known as. And in the next few days, continue practicing breathing through your nose at rest, when you're walking, even when you're doing exercise. You may want to take some tissue with you to blow your nose as you're breathing heavier. The nose breathing helps pace you when you're doing aerobic exercise. It prevents you from getting into anaerobic, which is a really nice mechanism instead of a heart rate monitor. And breath retention or suspension. So add a little bit of a pause after your exhale, more importantly than after the inhale, and see if suspending the breath at a longer and longer pace helps slow the breath, helps calm your mind, calm the nervous system, find moments of peace. There's a few different ideas for you. We'll see you soon for the 4th session of the Pranayama yoga practice. Thank you.